said, well, shouldn't we get up and run? It'd be like an easy.
Here we go. So, Ian, what time are we starting? Ian? Yeah, it's great to have your insight on these games, and it's not actually the imagination of the Western public. So it's again very student crowd will like it to watch. It was actually, well, we've enjoyed the previous matches, haven't we?
Well, yeah, I think they've been good games, and good games to watch. And if you had a youngster in your family, you'd be well worth coming down to Grosvenor Vale and watching the games, because they've been very entertaining and some good football.
Yeah, and also you see the stars of the future. This evening, Brighton. Who are
Good evening and welcome along to Grosvenor Vale for live coverage of Wealdstone versus Brighton and Hove Albion in the National League Cup. This is the fourth and final group game in the inaugural edition of this competition, and the Seagulls must win to give themselves an outside chance at progression to the quarter-finals. Let's have a look at the lineups then, starting with the Stones. The National League side makes 7 changes from their spirited 1-1 draw with Hartlepool at the weekend. Only goalkeeper Toby Stewart, Taylor Clark, Enzio Boldwine and forward Michael Obiero keep their place, with plenty of faces from the fringes coming in to replace them, including an unnamed trialist who will wear the number 11 shirt this evening. Just 2 changes for the Albion from their 1-1 draw with Leicester City. Harry Howell and Freddie Simmons come into the 11 for Joe Knight and Josh Robertson. So it should look a little something like this. Hugo Fisher in goal, a back 3 from right to left of Simmons, Turns and Penman. Jamie Mullins and Zane Alvarez will be the deeper of the midfield too, with Purpey on the wing-back on one side and Mills the wing-back on the other. Caitlin Vickers and the inform Harry Howell will play behind Marcus Eiffel up top. Well, an opportunity then for the Seagulls, even if it is a slim one, to make the quarter-finals of yet another competition. They've already secured a pathway through to the Premier League International Cup knockout stages. They can do the same with the National League Cup here tonight, but it will be no easy task. Wealdstone have been struggling this season in general, but have shown signs of spirit lately. 5 points from their last 4 games has taken them 21st in the National League table. Continue to punch above their weight in that division after promotion a few seasons ago. Brighton and Hove Albion absolutely flying at under 21 level, 3rd in the PL2 table. And as I mentioned, fighting strongly on 6 fronts in the 6 different competitions they take part in. It will be Jamie Mullins and Zane Alvarez to take the kickoff in the centre circle. The referee for today is Aaron Farmer. Albion know what is needed of them. At the very least, this is another fantastic chance to test themselves against senior opposition. We are underway at Grosvenor Vale. Been some thoroughly entertaining games for the Seagulls in the National League Cup already this season, not least that 3-2 victory away at Aldershot. Brighton and Hove Albion scored 3 goals in the final 13 minutes to win it 3-2. Left themselves needing something though after that defeat to Maidenhead. Left hand side is Mills. Mullins now. Vickers goes hunting for the ball. Back to Toby Stewart in the Wealdstone goal. Fired long up towards the halfway line. Thumped forward by Turns. Something for the Albion to chase again. Vickers racing down, trying to hook onto the loose ball. Obiero loses out to Simmons. Perpion does exactly the same though, and Wealdstone can bring it away with Brandon Mason. Interesting to see how Wealdstone adjust to this game. They've rung in the changes. Most National League sides have been doing that for this slate of fixtures. Ed Turns at the back for the Seagulls. Such a familiar face in the academy over the last few seasons. Former Albion under-21 captain. It's Jamie Mullins, though, keeps the armband today. Wealdstone goes searching for the ball with the press. Forward up to Caelan Vickers. Mullins has missed it, turning as Obiero. Quick feet and a little nick on his heels by the Irishman Jamie Mullins. Wealdstone free kick. First chance to see what the home side are capable of from set pieces, where you assume they would have an advantage. And it will be Christian Scott to take. London-born, South African citizen. Signed this summer. 3 in the Albion wall. You imagine this is too far from goal for Christian Scott to shoot himself, but he's certainly shaping up that way. And he might have a go here, Scott. It's driven hard and low towards Fisher. Awkward save to make in the sandpit in front of him. And it's seen out behind for a Wealdstone corner. It was a long way from goal. Scott bounced it awkwardly up in front of Fisher, who had to read the bounce and parry it away. 3 minutes gone, game's first chance. Still Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Home side with a corner kick coming up from the left. Deep towards the back post it goes, headed away first by a Seagull shirt. Back into the danger area by Trialist, the Wealdstone Trialist, that is. Toby Stewart. Looping one wide to the left. Brilliant touch by Scott. Wealdstone will build again with Alex Dyer, a club legend at the heart of the Wealdstone backline today. Long diagonal, open up space for Brandon Mason. Trying to skip past Cam Perpion, he read his intentions well. If you're looking for a player in fine form, look no further than Cam Perpion, 4 goals in his last 4 games. Brandon Mason again. line goes Mason. Chance to deliver, perhaps. Done well to get to the byline and flashes it across the face of goal where it has to be deflected away again. It was Penman that made the challenge. And Wealdstone will have another corner kick early on. Brandon Mason did ever so well. A real turn of pace to get beyond the legs of Perpion and deliver in. In the end, Penman there just in front of his goalkeeper Fisher to deflect it away. Another delivery comes in for Wealdstone, that one not quite of the same quality. And Brighton and Hove Albion will have a goal kick. Hugo Fisher will take, been with the Albion since under 10, part of a very talented and very busy goalkeeper group in the Albion Academy. Tend to accumulate and develop goalkeepers right through the ranks, the Seagulls. Fisher getting the chance at the moment, but Killian Carhill also enormously talented, and then Rushworth and Beadle out on loan in the Championship. Been tested early on this evening, Hugo Fisher. Now Ed turns, the two Wealdstone forwards sitting off him. That's Oviero and the Wealdstone trialist. Fisher digs out a long ball forward, although didn't travel that far in the end. Taking over is Craig Eastmond. Oviero loses out, and the Seagulls all of a sudden can break. Mullins. Perpion. Brighton and Hove Albion have evaded the pressure up the right. Turns. Doesn't reach its intended target. And Harry Howell stabs it clear. Here is Brandon Mason. Good strength by Taylor Clark. Down the line it goes to the run of Enzio Baldwin. Chance to deliver from the right by Scott, not cleared properly, was running for Mason, and Brighton Hove Albion have to hack clear. Fired back out to Brandon Mason again. He's been very involved early on, and he's left Perpion in the dust there. Scooped away by Turns. Seagulls with some defending to do in this opening 8 minutes. Maybe Howell could get them up the pitch. Turns. He's looking for Eiffel. Alvarez, lovely turn into space. And now Vickers can get his head down. This is better from the Seagulls. Howell. Perpion. Harry Howell again. Alvarez. Mills is screaming forward on the left-hand side. Brighton Hove Albion have worked it backwards. Alvarez has given it away. Oviero. Wealdstone trialist. Made back off into the middle. Space for Taylor Clark to turn. Mason. Oviero can't cross. Mullins has pinched it back for the Seagulls. Not too much in the way of support, though. Something just not quite clicking for the Albion in the final third at the moment. Maybe Harry Howell can change that. Wasn't quite on the same wavelength as Marcus Eiffel. Taylor Clark rides the challenge of Harry Howe. Obiero. Simmons nibbled a little too forcefully at the heels of Obiero. Wealdstone with a free kick. And the voice you can hear bellowing out from the Wealdstone dugout is that of their manager Matthew Taylor, or Matty Taylor. You might remember that name from his Premier League playing days. The likes of Bolton, most memorably Portsmouth, where he was the scorer of a few famous long-distance goals from the halfway line or even further. Made a bit of a name for it. Long diagonal out to the right for the Stones, and all of a sudden they're on the attack again. Scott. Mason. Perpion will stand. Mason will cross into a dangerous area. Baldwine curls one towards the top corner and had Hugo Fisher wandering for a moment. In the end, could see it sail harmlessly over the top of his crossbar. Did well to work the space. It was a nice attacking move by Wealdstone. It ends in the stands though. Still Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Best chance of the game came from Christian Scott's long distance free kick. Jamie Mullins couldn't turn. Two blue shirts behind him. Turns, has to find a pass in a hurry. Eiffel can hold. Was slid right through the back of there. And Brighton and Hove Albion will have a free kick. We will have the day's first booking as well. Taylor Clark into the book. The Wycombe Wanderers loanee. Not one he can have too many complaints about. Simmons. Looking forward to the feet of Eiffel. Runs beyond him to Dyer. Now Baldwin. Curled long for Scott to chase. Numbers gathering for Wealdstone in the middle. Who can Scott pick out? It's in towards Sekere. Perpion away. Mason. Made his Watford debut in 2017 versus Tottenham Hotspur after coming through the Hornets Academy. Knows a thing or two about Premier League academies. Brandon Mason. Taylor Clark chipping one forward. Aldrus running himself into a spot of bother. Seems to have the strength and the presence of mind to deal with it. Taylor Clark. Perpion back on it, but in possession. Those that will have watched this Albion under-21 side play regularly this season will know something not quite working at the moment, not their normal fluid selves. And so it proves again. Imagine that Shannon Ruth will want to quickly get a hold of that. He's joined by a new face in the dugout today as well. Shannon Ruth, Jason McCarthy, 29-year-old, has joined as a professional development phase coach. Wycombe Wanderers player, made over 301 professional appearances in senior English football. It's his very first steps into coaching. Speaking to Albion media this week, spoke about how he needs to quieten down, will be quieter as a coach than he was on the pitch. Taylor Clark, back to Baldwin. He can race forward over halfway. Scott on the outside. Good touch into space by Dyer and a long looping delivery, which was angled towards Sekere. Stabbed away by Howe. Brighton and Hove Albion holding on a little bit in the first 15 minutes. If you are just joining us on My Albion TV, this is National League Cup action, final group game between the Seagulls and the Stones. Both these sides with a very slim chance of progressing tonight if they are to win in normal time. Scott. Another cross comes in for Wealdstone. It's bouncing loose towards the edge. Howell tried to flick it away. Mason takes over. Wealdstone on 6 points, level with Aldershot in second, and only the top two go through. Brighton and Hove Albion down in 6 on 5 points, but it's so congested, Group A of the National League Cup. And of course, for those unfamiliar, games are played to a penalty shootout, if even, for the awarding of a bonus point. That makes the maths all a little bit more complicated when trying to work out who can progress in what circumstance. First thing the Seagulls need to do tonight is put themselves in a position to win in normal time. That much is absolutely clear. Dyer. Mason has had the better of Perpion so far. I don't often say that in Albion under-21s games. He's the wrong side of Perpion again. Another cross comes in. This one deflects up into the arms of Fisher. Albion's keeper gratefully accepts. Turns, pointing to those around him. Looking for a bit more movement in yellow. Welsh under-21 captain. Boyhood Albion fan as well. Ed Turns, featured on the bench for the first team a number of times. Made his debut versus Swansea all the way back in the 21-22 season. Caelan Vickers. Once more, the ball at the feet of Ed Turns. Wealdstone more than content to sit off. Simmons will change the angle. England Youth International, been playing up for England under-17s, even when he was just 15 years old, Simmons. Long from Turns this time, changing the mode of attack, and it's worked out neatly for the Albion. Vickers starting to shift into gear. On the overlap is Mills. And it trickles over the line. Will be a Wealdstone throw. Well, for those that have been keeping track and are locked in, these are the permutations for this evening's game. Brighton and Hove Albion need to win and have one of a Maidenhead loss against Southampton under-21s, or a Fulham under-21s and Aldershot Town draw for the possibility of going through. If Maidenhead are to lose to Southampton, Brighton and Hove Albion need a goal difference of 3. If Fulham under-21s are to win the penalty shootout in their draw with Aldershot, then Brighton and Hove Albion need just a 1-goal swing on goal difference. If Aldershot Town are to be successful in that penalty shootout, Brighton and Hove Albion will need a goal difference of +3, a 3-goal swing, if you will, tonight. Here is Ed Turns again. Seen plenty of the ball early on, as has Zayn Alvarez. Simmons. Spread towards Eiffel, who's barely had a kick. And his first ends with being dumped to the ground by Alex Dyer. Seagulls in a hurry. Penman. Vickers to Alvarez. Still yet to see this Wealdstone back line stretched or tested. And given the amount of firepower in this Albion 11, that is a surprise. Vickers, Howell, Eiffel and Perpion combined for about 40 goals between them so far this season. Eiffel with something to chase. Past Baldwin, who's tugged it back, and Baldwin cynically stopped Eiffel's progress there. He pleads innocence, but always going to be a yellow when Eiffel had raced beyond him and was bearing down on the penalty area. Good turn of pace from the youngster and a careless tug back by Baldwin. Brighton Hove Albion with a free kick in a promising position, and at last a chance to get themselves up the pitch and maybe test Toby Stewart in that Wealdstone goal. 2 stones in the book already.
So a dangerous position for Brighton Hove Albion. Wealdstone, promising one for Brighton.
Cam Perpion and Harry Howell standing over it. Both chipped in with plenty of assists this season. It's Perpion hands on hips that looks the favourite to hit an in-swinger across the face of Toby Stewart, but Howell plenty capable with his left as well. It is Perpion to whip one goalward, and it's not a fantastic ball in the end. Sails harmlessly past Stewart and into touch. Stewart, who's won that goalkeeper shirt for Wealdstone this season, Portsmouth loanee, very highly thought of along the south coast in Hampshire. Fantastic frame and has had successful loan spells at the likes of Tunbridge Angels and Gosport Borough. Intercepted by Perpion. Dyer, wriggling free. Craig Eastmond. Back to Baldwin. Strange to see Baldwin playing quite so deep for Wealdstone. He is really known for his contributions up the other end of the pitch. And Dutch winger. Dyer has taken a chance. Eiffel not quite there to punish him. McAvoy. Here's Baldwin. Second ball won by Scott, and Scott will strike from range, and that one never testing Fisher. Both goalkeepers with a rather straightforward opening 23 minutes. Fisher with that one save from Christian Scott's free kick, and since then, goalmouth action has been few and far between. Albion's central midfielders have just struggled to get on the ball. Wealdstone have been incredibly narrow, forcing Brighton Hove Albion to use the wide areas. Haven't quite been able to get their real playmakers, Mullins, Howell, Vickers with the ball in space. Mullins volleys one forward. Howell, Alvarez. Biero with the strength to see off Alvarez. Recycled again to Alex Dyer. Driven long into space and through to Hugo Fisher. Well, Wealdstone certainly putting up a fight in their bid to stay in the National League, and as part of that, seen some of the signings they've made and brought in. Conor McAvoy playing today, Taylor Clark, the number 4 out there, and base of their midfield also playing today, and also Will Randall, 27-year-old experienced National League winger, not in the squad today, but part of their bid to stay in the division. It's been a remarkable fight almost every season they've had back in the National League. Not least last campaign, when they needed 3 wins from the last 5 under interim boss Sam Cox to stay up. Seagulls with a throw. Will be Harry Mills. So Carrick will chase that ball back to Hugo Fisher. Mullins, finally a rare touch this afternoon for Jamie Mullins. Now Aldris trotting into space. Turns will try and pick him out. Instead it's Perpion. Runs under Perpion and behind. Wealdstone's chance to get forward. Quick feet again from Ribeiro. Not the first time we've seen that from him this evening. Craig Eastmond. Good fight from Harry Mills to steal it away. Toby Stewart, not the most convincing clearance, runs for Aldris. This could spell a chance for the Seagulls. Harry Howell now. Howell again. Mullins. Rather telegraphed the ball in Perpion's direction. Stolen right back though by Brighton and Hove Albion. Here's Caelan Vickers. Weaving in field. Taylor Clark wins it back for the home side, and Ribeiro does well. Pressure relieved. Best spell we've seen from the Seagulls though came from a poor Toby Stewart clearance through the middle. Managed to keep their foot on the gas and keep Wealdstone penned in, even if it was only momentarily. First half I'd describe as out of character. Perpion with a trip on the trialist. Wealdstone with a free kick. Scott. Here's Jamie Mullins. Can he carry the Seagulls forward? How? Smashed wide to the left-hand side. Mills can't bring it under his spell. Offside flag looked like it was up anyway, so Wealdstone with a free kick midway inside their own half. You're just joining us on My Albion TV. It is Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. This is the 4th and final group game of the Albion's National League Cup campaign. First ever edition of this tournament, brought in to add more senior experience for the Premier League Under-21 side and provide a financial plan for the National League side to get all of the gate money for these fixtures. All the funds. Lumped forward again by the Seagulls, all the way through to Toby Stewart, who can settle that down. Well, half an hour gone, and there has been one moment of note in the game. It's fair to say it has not been a classic at Grosvenor Vale. An hour left though, still to play. Surely a shove then on the back of Penman, spotted by the referee Aaron Farmer, and play does come to a halt. Bad news for the Albion's hopes of progression. Aldershot are 1 goal to the good already in their game. Brighton Hove Albion, of course, need one of the 2 possible outcomes they need and require Aldershot to drop points. Harry Howe chasing that one back to Stewart. Harry Howe. Eastman out to Mason, Perpion across. Play on, says the assistant, Taylor Clark. Can find Baldwin. Looked confident, assured Wealdstone. Credit them for that. Chance here for Scott to pick up some scraps in midfield. Brandon Mason. Perpion times his lunge well. Eastman. Taylor Clark. Brilliant slide challenge from Albrecht. And all of a sudden the Seagulls are away. And Ifill really can shift. Marcus Ifill bursting into the penalty area. Squared across the face of goal to Vickers. Has Mullins in support. Vickers doesn't need it. And Stewart saves. First time we've seen the Seagulls test Toby Stewart. Began with Ifill's lung-busting run up the right. Squared it back into the middle. Vickers took his time. Turned past Clark. But it was straight down the throat of Toby Stewart.
I think the effort on goal was from Caelan Vickers.
Long off the boot of Stewart. Cam Perpion. Nodded on by Simmons, but then Eastman can take over. Good touch from Obiero. Mason hung up towards the back post. Crucial header by Penman. Vickers to bring it away. Wonder if the Albion could just build off that chance, feed off it. Mills sees the free kick go against the Albion's wing back. Wealdstone with a free kick on the right. Will be Scott to take. Stood over most of the set pieces for Wealdstone today. Towed into him by Eastman, changing the angle slightly. Straight into the arms of Fisher in the end. Ticking towards half-time. Can't imagine either manager will be delighted. Matthew Taylor in the Wealdstone dugout. Shannon Ruth for the Albion. Took over this side in September of 2022, following Croft's inclusion in the first team. Albrecht really made a name for himself in the 21s this season. Zane Albrecht has never really been a regular up until this current campaign, where he's established himself either as a fullback or a central midfielder, starting pretty regularly. Signing from MK Dons. Harry Howell in toward Albrus. Howell again. Eastman dribbling the ball away for Wealdstone and getting away with it. Caelan Vickers making that point to the assistant. Had 2 or 3 chances to allow the Albion to take the free kick. Never did. Seagulls with a free kick. Jamie Mullins. Penman, Mullins. I wonder if just upping the tempo slightly might unlock the door for the Seagulls. Howell. Fisher. Certainly got his boot through that, Fisher, and he's picked out Perpion brilliantly. Flag stays down. Cam Perpion cross towards Eiffel, who tried the spectacular. Well, if that had come off, it truly would have been something special. Need another look at it, but it looked like Eiffel was trying a scorpion kick there. Still live for Vickers at the byline, rolled back off into the middle, blocked somehow in front of goal. Albrus to strike, and that one's sprayed over as well. Wealdstone want an offside flag. Cam Perpion will have to settle for a corner kick. Well, Vickers escaped up the byline, skipped into space, laid it off for Marcus Eiffel, whose shot from close range was blocked just after his chance moments ago. Another promising spell this for the Seagulls. Chipped in towards the arms of Stewart, nodded away from the edge of the 6-yard box. Albrus settles. Mullins. Penman. Vickers in space again and blocked away by Scott this time. Caelan Vickers starting to come alive on the Albion's left-hand side. Second Seagulls corner kick in succession. Cam Perpion delivering the signal from the left. Some sorting out first, though, for Aaron Farmer to do, the man in the middle today. Seems to concern the goalkeeper Toby Stewart, and Eiffel's proximity to him. In from Cam Perpion, up go the blue shirts. Perpion again, driven back in, nodded on by Freddie Simmons, skims away. Goal kick for Wealdstone. Best chances of the game, though, for the Seagulls. The ball flashed across the face of goal toward Eiffel by Cam Perpion, and then Vickers slaloming toward the 6-yard box, laying off for Eiffel, whose effort was blocked by Taylor Clark. Thumped along by Stewart, straight out of play. Seagulls throw. Sprayed long by Simmons. Eiffel can't collect that one. McAvoy had been able to see it back to Toby Stewart. Taylor Clark done a nice job, Taylor Clark, in this first half, sitting just in front of that Wealdstone back line, dictating play from there. Turns. Albrus. Chopped down by Eastman. Ed turns. scooped along and straight into touch. That'll be a Wealdstone throw. Still Matty Taylor rather animated at the edge of his technical area. There's Mason to take. Hurled him towards Eastman. Seen off it by Alvarez. That looked like Alvarez had been able to wrap his leg cleanly around Eastman. Aaron Farmer comes to the Stones' aid. McAvoy to take the resulting free kick. 5 to go till half-time, still locked at 0-0. Game of few chances. Mason sits down Perpion again. Perpion straight back out at Mason though. Thrown has gone Wealdstone's way by the corner flag. Perpion defending from that wing-back position. Blue shirt starting to trot forward. Into the feet of Wealdstone's trialist. Now Mason. Clark. Alex Dyer. Guiding one wide to Scott. Runs just beyond his outstretched leg. That allows Mills to get back defensively. Scott's done well to keep things ticking over though for Wealdstone. Dyer. McAvoy. Between Sekeri's legs. Fisher back on it for Brighton and Hove Albion. If you want to stay up to date with everything going on with the Albion under-21s and the Women's Academy, at BHAFC Academy on X is the best way to do so. Full updates of the progress of the youngsters in the Seagulls ranks. Phil making progress up the right here. There's space in the middle for Perpion, who's taken it in stride and shifted past Baldwin, and then the blue shirts just crowded out Cam Perpion. Phil was up against Eastman and just got too much of Eastman, who's down in a heap. Plenty coming up for the Albion under-21s as well. Manchester United at home in the Premier League 2. Luton away in the Premier League Cup. Yet another cup competition the Albions have a chance of progressing in. And then it's away to Everton and away to Norwich in the Premier League 2 as well. Toby Stewart to send one long. Digs his foot under the ball. Infield, it's headed by the Albion. Mullins loses out. Obiero. Scott. Struggling to find room past Mills, who's defending brilliantly one-on-one. Baldwin. Taylor Clark. Looking for the angle. The home side. It's in towards Obiero. Eastman's got it out his feet, but couldn't pick out that top corner. A sighter for Craig Eastman. Hugely experienced 34-year-old. Tries that one wide of the top corner. Here's Caelan Vickers. Now Hugo Fisher. St. Alvarez. Brighton and Hove Albion enjoying a spell of possession to end this first half. Perhaps that's the message from Shannon Ruth in the dugout, just to have an element of control about their play, because the first 15 minutes They were looking rather ropey, the Seagulls. Have since steadied the ship and had a few chances of their own. Could be one more before the break. Perpion, Howell to his right, Eiffel to his left. Harry Howell's the target. And Harry Howell sends it into touch. Not finest bit of finishing from Harry Howell, if that's what he had intended. Scooping it up towards the goal of Toby Stewart and drifting it behind. First 45 has been and gone, and that will do it with no added time. Well, an uneventful first half at Grosvenor Vale. Half chances traded between the two sides, but neither keeper really tested. Half-time here is Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Welcome back to second half coverage of Wealdstone versus Brighton and Hove Albion in the fourth and final National League Cup group game. 0-0 at the break then. Both sides have it all to do for a more entertaining second 45. A game of very few chances. A game that, in truth, lacked quality in the first half. Who can put that right for both Wealdstone and Brighton and Hove Albion? No sign of any changes as of yet, although, just as I say that, Josh Robertson steps into view. We will see Josh Robertson step onto the pitch for the Seagulls. Signing from Sunderland, long injury layoff, Josh Robertson, but has done well on his return. Scored almost instantly after coming back from that injury against Sporting Lisbon in the Premier League International Cup. A lovely, well-taken finish past the keeper. And he can continue his comeback to fitness here against Wealdstone in the National League Cup. Albion subs still need to make their way off the pitch. Aaron Farmer has the ball down in the centre circle. Seagulls far from their best in the first half. But we know the levels this team can hit when they are firing, and it's confirmation that Josh Robertson is on. I believe it was the number of Harry Mills that was shown. So Harry Mills, who had been playing left wing back, will make way. Maybe that will signal a change in shape for the Seagulls. Josh Robertson tends to play as an attacking midfielder, and it looks like he's slotted in alongside Jamie Mullins, so perhaps the Seagulls will shift their shape. It's going to be a goalkeeper change for Wealdstone. Dante Baptiste taking the place of Toby Stewart. And not only him stepping onto the pitch, we're also going to see Anthony Georgiou and Declan Phillips as well. So Anthony Georgiou coming on for Connor McAvoy. Wait to see who Declan Phillips is coming on for when the fourth official sorts out his board. And it looks like Enzio Boldwine is the other man to make way. So triple sub for Wealdstone. Dante Baptiste, goalkeeper, on for Stewart. Declan Phillips on for McAvoy, and Anthony Georgiou on for Enzio Boldwine. For Brighton and Hove Albion, just the one change. Harry Mills making way for Josh Robertson. Will be Wealdstone to get this second half underway. Rubiero standing over it in the centre circle. And Farmer just delaying our restart slightly. And finally, after 5.5 minutes since the players emerged from the tunnel, we are back underway. Smashed away by Ed Turns. Forward from Caelan Vickers. Into the channel it goes, and Eiffel will have an early run at the Wealdstone back line. Shoots from the angle and flashes it just a few yards wide of the mark. Confirmation that it was Zane Alvarez that made way, not Harry Mills. Little confusion on the board shown by the official. Zane Alvarez has departed, not Harry Mills. Eiffel, though, driving goalward. He loves to do that. Angling one over the bar. Declan Phillips for Wealdstone. Infield. Back to Scott. A bit more energy about the Seagulls out of possession in this second half so far. It's forced a mistake from Scott. Eiffel off and running, looking to escape past Dyer. First touch for Baptiste is to scoop it long. Mills still on the pitch. Again, confirmation it was Alvarez making way. So the shape won't change for the Albion. That's a like-for-like switch in the middle of the park. Here is Mills. A work experience alone at Burgess Hill. Harry Mills, so knows a bit about the non-league game himself. Turning is Harry Howell. Chops his way past the challenge of Georgiou. On goes Harry Howell. It's a good run. He's been brought down clumsily. Aaron Farmer thought about that for a long time. And his wave play on. Already we've seen Eiffel and Harry Howell getting their head down and charging at the Wealdstone back line. Almost to great effect. Didn't see enough of that in the first 45. Players that are more than capable of it. Turns. Perpion. Lovely touch into space by Cam Perpion and just couldn't evade. Had the Georgiou. He shrugged him off the ball. Mason under pressure and wins his side a free kick. And the referee, Aaron Farmer. Just going to have a word with Marcus Eiffel and Cam Perpion. This was the challenge on Harry Howell. Came from an awkward angle. Maybe Georgiou just getting enough of the ball to stay the right side of the law. Dante Baptiste with the resulting free kick for the Stones. Not often you see a goalkeeper substituted. Perhaps Matty Taylor just having a look across the depth in his squad. Caelan Vickers straight into the chest of Taylor Clark. Mills keeping it alive. Eiffel offside as he ran beyond the last defender. Certainly a more open half in the opening 4 minutes of it than we saw in the first. Header for Simmons to jump for. Turns there to help him out. Runs for Obiero. Obiero tidily put round the corner. Crossed in towards the back post. Taylor Clark. Loses out to Harry Howell. Howell again. Prodded down the line. Eiffel can latch on. Well-timed lunge by Scott to take it away from him. Now Baptiste, 22-year-old London-born keeper. Vickers. Now Josh Robertson. Chance to show what he's capable of in this second half. Lovely ball by Ed Turns, straight into the path of Vickers. Just wouldn't quite bounce kindly for Vickers. And Obiero was tracking back. Long from Dyer. Obiero to chase. Trialist in the middle. And the delivery from Declan Phillips is wayward. Hugo Fisher with a goal kick. Quality of delivery, something that Wealdstone had an abundance up their left flank in the first half in the form of Brandon Mason, putting some really good early crosses with the Seagulls under the cosh. Declan Phillips off the mark that time. Vickers given away. Oviero loses out to Mullins. Vickers again. Howell can take it over halfway, past Taylor Clark with quick feet. Angled out to the left. Mills looking to cross. Not convincing the clearance from Scott. In the end did well to hold off Eiffel. And hammer clear for Wealdstone. Will be a Wealdstone throw, just shy of the halfway line. Club in their 5th season in the National League after promotion in 2020. It's a huge achievement for a club that spent 6 years in the National League South before that. I mentioned the 16th place finish last season. I'm looking for similar this time around. Such a difficult league, the National League. Especially to come into and establish yourself. Not many National League South clubs do it successfully. Often that jump is too great. As many have found out recently. Oxford City last year, Ebbsfleet are finding out at the moment. Wealdstone, one of few to go up and make it stick. Mills with the throw for the Seagulls, penned down deep in their own corner, up towards Eiffel. Here's Craig Eastmans, once a youngster at Arsenal, where he made 10 appearances, senior appearances. 4 of them came in the Premier League for Craig Eastmans. Alex Dyer. Chased backward. Alex Dyer with a free kick. Had a unique career in football himself. The Wealdstone legend, the number 5. In fact, played for Östersunds in Sweden under former Albion manager Graham Potter as part of their miraculous journey up the divisions in Scandinavia. Low and flat ball does find its intended target, which was Georgiou. Whipped in towards the penalty area. Albion trying to break. Eiffel. Baptiste coolly away. Backpedaling is Simmons. Declan Phillips. Free kick won well by Caelan Vickers, who used his body. Joel Veltman-esque, you might say, from Vickers, who has a wry smile at the end of it. Just need a little bit more going forward at the moment, both sides. Second half has been more expansive, but once the two teams get to the final third, they come unstuck. Difference from the first half is they weren't really even reaching in and around the penalty area in the first half. It's a sublime touch from Mills to pluck that out the sky. Vickers, fouled by Scott. Albion free kick. Yellow shirts can gather forward. Charlie Penman, one of them, head and shoulders above his peers. Penman in there, turns as well. And Freddie Simmons, all capable of getting their head on this. Howell and Perpion, both possess the talent to shoot themselves if they so fancy. The yellow shirts are forward. There's 3 in the Wealdstone wall, but Declan Phillips is departing. Will it be Perpion or Howe? And will it be a cross or a shot? It's delivered by Howe. It's into a really good area. And Georgiou can see it out of play. No one could steal across that and try and divert it goalward. Nice delivery from Howe, just begging for someone to attack it, to run onto it. Out of play. Dante Baptiste with the resulting goal kick. Player that's featured in non-league with Chesham, Farnborough and Hendon. And in the academies of Norwich and Watford. Eiffel loses out. Declan Phillips. Mills was strong and has done brilliantly. And he's prodded it through to Marcus Eiffel. Eiffel first time. Deflected into the arms of Dante Baptiste. Superb work from Harry Mills. The strength to hold off Phillips. The skill to prod it through the legs of Scott. And across came Dyer, charging into Eiffel to take all the sting out the shot. Here come Wealdstone. Biero fouled. Yellow cards. Brandish Brighton and Hove Albion's way. You can see Biero had just got the wrong side of Robertson, the substitute, and he'll go into the book. First Seagulls player to pick up a yellow. Off the bench, Josh Robertson. Another Wealdstone substitution. Dyer is going to make way. Number 17, Josh Grant, is on. So Alex Dyer off. Josh Grant on. He'll step forward for this soon to come in delivery. Three in the Brighton and Hove Albion wall. Scott, who tested Fisher very early on with the free kick and hasn't really had a chance since then, can deliver now. The right footer. Or will it be Georgiou, in fact, who waits just a few yards off him? In from Scott, hard and low towards the arms of Fisher, who could fall on top of it. And Brighton and Hove Albion can build again from their keeper. Not the only Albion game we're bringing you across the 3 Seagulls teams covered here on My Albion TV. Also, tomorrow night, Brighton and Hove Albion women taking on Arsenal in the League Cup quarter-finals. A big one for Dario Vidicic's high-flying Seagulls and the remarkable season they're having. They have a quarter-final in the Cup tomorrow. That'll be right here on My Albion TV. Georgiou. Grant trying to spin into space. Not sure that's what he intended. Almost came off regardless. Will be a corner kick for Wealdstone. Unusual kickoff time of 7:15 tomorrow for that women's game. Worth noting as well. 15 minutes later than we kicked off here tonight. Approaching the hour mark. At the moment, still waiting for the game's first goal. Georgiou to take a corner kick from the left for the Stones. Headed away all too easily by Simmons. Back in by Mason, although he's made a right meal of it, and Eiffel can race away, and there's not many that can catch him. It's Marcus Eiffel for the Seagulls. He's tried to go around Baptiste. Baptiste saves well, still alive for Vickers. Mullins in front of goal. It's a brilliant lunging challenge by Craig Eastman. Well, Brighton and Hove Albion must be wondering how they've not found the back of the net from that scenario. They might still yet. Mills towards Eiffel, over the top of him. And eventually out of play. A bizarre sequence, which started with Mason thundering it into his own teammate. That allowed Eiffel to run away off the rebound. Tried to go round Baptiste. Stayed alive for Mullins. Then a really well-timed challenge from Craig Eastman to see it away. Had to be coming from that angle. Seagull substitution. Mills is going to make way for Joshua Duffus. Duffus on, Harry Mills off. Mills had been playing wing back, Duffus naturally a forward. Grant, Scott, in the air from Dante Baptiste, you have to say spread himself brilliantly to deny Eiffel from close range. Looks like Marcus Eiffel's going to slot in as a wing back. Duffus will take his place up top. Howe not quite been as involved today as we're used to seeing Harry Howe, the England Youth International. He's got 12 goals in all Albion competitions this season. 7 of them have come in the league, the bread and butter. Premier League 2, where the Albion sit third behind only Manchester City and Fulham. Georgiou. Simmons too strong. Robertson. Vickers. Couldn't control. Throwing goes the way of the Stones. So the first half, they probably shaded it, the National League side, the men's team. Second half, I think it's belonged to the Albion. Harry Howe battling with Grant in the middle. Perpion bravely nods on. First touches for Joshua Duffus in this game. Eiffel. Vickers. Eiffel for company still. Caelan Vickers. Marcus Eiffel. Tried to hit it first time. Sends it spiralling wide. Joshua Duffus, 9 goals this season himself, now on at centre forward. Although hasn't found them quite as frequently as of late. Scored 8 in his first 10, 1 in his last 12 or so. In all competitions. The trialist for Wealdstone. Out to the right. Phillips to strike one. It was weaving in the air, bobbling horribly for Fisher, and he was able to parry it away regardless. Mason looking bright again, and Robertson can see it away. Brighton and Hove Albion felt that should have been pulled back earlier for a high foot. It wasn't. Play went on, and Wealdstone worked it to the right back, Declan Phillips, who certainly put his laces through it, goalward. And the save had to be made by Hugo Fisher to his right, so talking to for Charlie Penman, perhaps just for his word to the direction of Aaron Farmer, the day's referee. Georgiou again to deliver. Crossed in low and hard, running for Sekeri. Taylor Clark through the crowd, all the way to the back post. It's a brilliant intervention to prevent Grant a tap-in. Still alive for Wealdstone. Eastmond, Mason again. So often the outlet for Stones. Back to Mason. Declan Phillips. Crossed by Scott into a good area. Struck goal by Obiero. Thought he had the opener. The offside flag says otherwise. So well taken by Obiero. A goal that almost deserved to stand. Wrapped his right boot across it. And volleyed it first time past Fisher. Offside flag denying him and denying the game its opener. Good spell this though for Wealdstone in response to the Albion's promising first 20 minutes or so of the second half. In towards the middle it goes and sent over the top. Trialist couldn't connect. Brighton and Hove Albion had a trialist of their own in recent weeks, not featuring in games, but training with the side. They have now signed him, Danish goalkeeper, 18-year-old. Signing, had previously been with Stoke and Everton. Harry Howell in a right-back position. Caelan Vickers. Midfield to Mullins. Scooped over the top. Duffus was the target. Settled by Wealdstone. Just mentioned that goalkeeper Sebastian Jensen, the young man, joining as a free agent. Will join again the Albion ranks of goalkeepers alongside Cahill and Fisher. And Ferdinand as well. Howe, Perpion. Looking for Duffus in field, all the way through to the feet of Christian Scott. So Carey. And is back with Brandon Mason, played in Sussex with Crawley before his move to Wealdstone. Hugo Fisher skips that one round the pressure of the Stones. Robertson can turn. Vickers, Eiffel, charging into space across the face of goal, where it's bundled home. Cam Perpion, for his third goal in as many games, has given the Seagulls the lead. They started his second half so brightly. Eiffel, who'd shifted out to that left wing back position, the creator, and Perpion, as he has been so often of late, the scorer. A low, dangerous delivery. All the Australian had to do was make contact, and that he did. Bundling at home from close range to make it Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. And no surprise that it's Cam Perpion with his 5th in his last 5 games. He's now scored in 3 games in a row for the Seagulls as well. And Brighton and Hove Albion's National League Cup hopes remain alive. They will not know their fate, curiously enough, until next Tuesday, because that's when Maidenhead take on Southampton. But for now, that goal, a step in the right direction. They'll need 2 more to put the pressure on Maidenhead next weekend. Duffus, Eiffel, the creator of that goal moments ago. Robertson. Vickers into Eiffel, same position, this time bounces through the arms of the goalkeeper Dante Baptiste. Next Tuesday, correction, that Maidenhead take on Southampton. Here's Vickers again. Mullins has spotted a neat run from Perpion. And Georgiou wins a free kick. And Perpion claiming that it was Georgiou that ran into him. The Cypriot international. That is number 13 of the season in all competitions for Cam Perpion. It is his first, though, in the National League Cup. Aldershot have added a second goal against Fulham under 21s. They look to be romping to the Group A lead. Aldershot Town in a place in the quarterfinals. All but guaranteed for them now. Perpion tracking back, finds Hugo Fisher. Wealdstone shaken since that goal. Vickers, all sorts of space to turn and change the angle. Mullins, increased tempo about Brighton and Hove Albion now. Howe, bending one out wide to Perpion, looking for a first-time delivery. Eiffel waiting for it to drop. He's kept it in play to Vickers. Caelan Vickers, on goes Vickers. It was a neat and tidy run, came to a rather ugly end. Wealdstone with a free kick. This, of course, not the main focus for Wealdstone. That was indicated by the 7 changes they made. They're starting 11 from the weekend. Last time out, that 1-1 draw. Rescued a point against Hartlepool, a good point at that. As I mentioned, they're 5 points in their last 4 games in their bid for survival. Most of those coming via draws, though. They have won just 1 of their last 9 in the National League. Turns. Duffus. Can't get there first ahead of Baptiste. And meanwhile, there is a player down on the deck for the Stones.
Both teams taking a chance.
That's happened a long way off the ball. Another chance to look at the goal that opened this one up, though. Lovely ball from Eiffel. Duffus was there. Probably heard the shout from Perpion steaming in behind him, who taps it home. A chance for Shannon Ruth to get some instructions on board, and also too for Jason McCarthy. Mentioned him earlier. Jason McCarthy's first day in the dugout for the Seagulls, the new professional development phase coach, who already made 7 appearances as a player this year for Wycombe Wanderers, who are flying high in League One, and now takes his first steps into coaching as the professional development phase coach for Brighton and Hove Albion. Also down there is Mikey Harris, key part of the Albion coaching staff last season across the women's team, this season with the 21s. Wonder what is being pondered by Matty Taylor and Wealdstone. It's going to be number 12, Wayne Andrews, on. And it looks like it might be the youngster that's hobbling off injured, Jeffrey Say-Carey. In fact, it is number 10, Michael Obiero. Seems to have been forced off, and Wayne Andrews is on in his place. So now the front 3 will be Andrews, Jeffrey Say-Carey, the youngster, and still the Wealdstone trialist. Andrews' first touch, holding it up with his back to goal. More up than out by Christian Scott. Mullins trying to nod it down to Eiffel, rolls out of play. Another Wealdstone throw. Will be Christian Scott to take. Grant. Taylor Clark's influence in the game, the number 4 for Wealdstone, has dwindled. It's a key part of their success early on in the first half. Scott. Taylor Clark. Starting to inch forward now, though, the Stones. Mason. Georgiou. Back to Mason again. Harry Howell on the cover. Fantastic covering from the Seagulls, in sync defensively. Perpion. Up towards Duffus. Grant wanted a free kick. Aaron Farmer not interested. Now Dante Baptiste. Turning upfield is Mason. Georgiou has been a willing runner. This time cuts inside. Taylor Clark to shoot from range, and Fisher had everything behind it. Been a comfortable second half for Hugo Fisher. Ball was in the back of his net, courtesy of Javiero. That was ruled out. Since then, yet to really be tested. One effort from Declan Phillips, powered towards his bottom corner, which he was able to parry away. Grant's fed off some scraps in the final third. Taylor Clark again. Declan Phillips trying to sneak around the outside of Eiffel. Eiffel wins a free kick for the Seagulls. So real fluidity about this Brighton and Hove Albion Academy side. So willing to swap and interchange positions. That's nothing new. Development obviously always the priority, and we saw when Jack Hinshelwood came through this side, he played pretty much every position but between the sticks. There's plenty out there in yellow tonight that are versatile, able to fill in where needed. Eiffel went from leading the line to providing the assist as a wing back. Here's Harry Howell. Duffus. Clark intercepted by Vickers. Eiffel could drive forward. 4-on-4 if the Albion can work this right. Duffus. Well-timed challenge by Scott. Duffus back at him. Albion sweep it from left to right. Simmons. Mullins. It's a lovely spell of possession this for the Seagulls. Perpion trying to keep it going. 10 left to play. Still Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Eiffel really come alive in the second half. Vickers. Touch and field by Caelan Vickers. Wants that half yard to shoot. Might just have found it. And it's off the upright. Fantastic effort from Caelan Vickers. Slowed down. And then just shifted it onto his right and whipped it towards the top corner. Dante Baptiste, left flat-footed, could only watch as it clanged the upright and bounced away. Mullins swivelling into space, waiting for the run to come from Cam Perpion. Perpion and Duffus has Vickers in support. Duffus shoots himself. Perpion dug out towards Vickers. Scott's there. And Eastman puts his boot through it. Away though comes Say Carey. Simmons had to time that challenge well. That was awkward for the Albion. Thankfully, Simmons was there to bail them out. Penman goes down himself. Well, here is that Vickers strike, so sweetly hit. Dante Baptiste completely flat-footed. Upright denies him. Robertson down for the Seagulls. In fact, it's Simmons who made the lunge that's on the deck. What an important tackle it was. It was unusual the way that chance developed for Wealdstone. Bit of miscommunication at the back for the Seagulls, and all of a sudden, Say Carey was sprinting away. Simmons able to get there in time. Georgiou. Simmons. Given right back to Wealdstone with Mason. Wickham Loney, Taylor Clark finds Christian Scott, the South African. Phillips, Scott. Delivers left-footed. Fisher confidently puts his name on that one and catches it high. 6.5 minutes between the Seagulls and a second win in the National League Cup. Long it goes by Brighton and Hove Albion. Out to the left-hand side for Marcus Eiffel. Full of running, full of energy. Duffus makes a run in behind. Lovely ball from Eiffel. How's the finish from Duffus? It's over the top. Sends it into the stands. Eiffel has completely dominated this second half. It's been all about him. And he found Joshua Duffus in behind, who tried to pick up the top corner from a tight angle. His only real option from there to go for that type of finish. As it stands, the Seagulls will be on 8 points, 1 behind Aldershot in first, level with Maidenhead, but trailing on goal difference. So they need Southampton to do them a favour next Tuesday, or Fulham to find 2 goals tonight against Aldershot. Fulham have found 1, it's worth noting. It's now Aldershot 2, Fulham 1. Referee marching back the Stones forwards, one of which is the substitute Wayne Andrews. Knocked long towards Wayne Andrews, leapt for it, couldn't quite get the height, and hard to blame him. He is 47 years old, the number 12 for Wealdstone, currently leading the line. Named on the bench today. Don't think he was expecting to come on. 25th of November 1977, yeah, 47 years old. Wealdstone forward. I thought I read that wrong when I was looking at the stat sheet. Out wide to the left-hand side, nodded out of play. Just the 31 years between him and Brighton and Hove Albion's Harry Howell. If that's not what the National League Cup's all about, I don't know what is. Vickers fighting for it. Prodded towards Joshua Duffus. Seen off the ball, but wins a free kick for the Seagulls. Wealdstone can't quite believe it. Ball up the right area of the pitch for the Albion. And Harry Howell and Perpion stand over it. It's 2 in the Wealdstone wall. Dante Baptiste, the substitute goalkeeper, trying to get the back line organised in front of him. Perpion and Howell have stood over many a free kick this evening, yet to really create anything of note. Maybe that can change. Rolled to the edge. Caelan Vickers loves to shoot from here. Vickers blocked wide by Eastmond. Opened up for Caelan Vickers. Chance presented itself, and if not for a block, he might have had the Albion second. He can't quite believe it. Eastman made himself big and did enough to see the ball wide. Another Albion corner kick coming up. Howell to take. In towards the 18-yard box. Shove going against the Seagulls. Well, Wealdstone lost their first National League Cup game to Fulham. Since then, they've won their last 2, beating Southampton and Derby rather comfortably. They're almost guaranteed to go through if they were to win tonight. Not looking likely at the moment. Yellow cards for the Wealdstone trialist, preventing the Albion from getting on with it. Angled wide by the Seagulls. Eiffel, the outlet again. Lovely touch inside past Scott Eiffel to shoot himself. It's bent towards the corner. Grant will have to deal with it. Vickers. Perpion back across the face of goal, blocked away. Seagulls corner kick. They have really grabbed this second half by the scruff of the neck, and credit Shannon Ruth for the message at half-time, because they were far from themselves in the first 45. I think they'd be the first to admit that, and the Albion's coach. Much better. Harry Howell curling one goalwards and almost finding the outstretched legs of Joshua Duffus. Penman went close, first with a header, then Duffus steaming in. Tried to carry it over the goal line. In the end, neither could make contact. Another dangerous bit of football by Harry Howell. They were queuing up in the middle. No one could turn it in. Into the 90th minute we go. Free kick goes the way of Wealdstone. Will be taken dead centre by Christian Scott. Spent most of his footballing career in Portugal with Portimonense. Swung in by Christian Scott. Bodies go up. Howell can send it away. Mullins gets there first ahead of Mason. Duffus has continued his run. Mullins to Duffus. Does he have the legs? Away goes Joshua Duffus. And it's saved by Dante Baptiste. Well, it was Mullins that released Duffus with a well-timed pass. The yellow shirts were gathering. Duffus didn't use them, and Dante Baptiste punished him. Corner kicks come in from the right off the boots of Howell. In towards Penman. Dante Baptiste claims. Can try and lump this long. Chasing it is Wayne Andrews, and he's got the strength to hold off Jamie Mullins, and that's no surprise because his role with the Wealdstone setup is the strength and conditioning coach. That's why he was brought in, to ensure the squad is in peak physical condition for the National League campaign, and proving leading by example, should I say, out there on the pitch now. Former Premier League player with Crystal Palace. And he might have one more chance here. 4 minutes of added time coming up. Still Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Christian Scott delivers the free kick, not a good one. In fact, probably his worst of the night when his side needed him most. And it might just have sprung Brighton and Hove Albion on the counter. Duffus keeps it in play. The yellow shirts are flooding forward. Robertson. Wide towards Vickers, who brings it down. Brighton and Hove Albion thought they had a corner kick. Caelan Vickers certainly did. Dante Baptiste can send it long again. Not long now left for Wealdstone. This result would eliminate them. Penman to take. Down the line, nodded on. Duffus can collect. Duffus shoved off the ball. Be a yellow card. I think the referee is indicating that that should go the way of Declan Phillips, although hard to tell as he's looking at the crowd. Maybe it's Craig Eastman he's pointing to. Does look like it's Craig Eastman that's gone into the book. Been a bitty game, fractured, disjointed. That will matter little to the Seagulls if they're to get another win. They have lost just 3 of their last 12 if they're to hold on to this one. 1 of their last 6. Cam Perpion in the final minute of stoppage time, maybe to add some gloss to the scoreline. In it goes towards Penman. Simmons also in there. Away by Scott. Howe. Out to Perpion. Hung up into the middle. Still not cleared properly. Sekeri and Grant. Sekeri's continued his run. And Joshua Duffus there to cover. Did well, Joshua Duffus. 30 seconds left to play now, and time quickly fading for Wealdstone. Body language seems to suggest they've accepted their fate. Still, blue shirts to aim for in the middle. If they could get this into a crossing off position, then maybe one more chance at putting something in the penalty area for the Albion to think about. It's gone backwards to Scott. Knocked into the channel. Away to Eiffel. Loses out to Phillips. Wayne Andrews. Past Vickers. Andrews is squeezed across. And that will do it in the National League Cup. Brighton and Hove Albion keep their hopes of progression alive. We'll have to wait till next Tuesday to find out if that is a possibility, but it finishes here. Wealdstone 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 1.